Hello. Did you know that 85% of your success depends on your communication skills? Your ability to talk, people, to connect with them, and to look trustful. You'll be surprised that Harvard did a test, and actually 85% of people who had a good communication skills, ability to talk with people, express themselves, and listen carefully, build rapport, were able to close deals faster, looked more trustful, and of course people liked them more. Hello, my name is Dimas, and in this video I'm going to share with you NLP tricks to build rapport, to build connection, because in the past 8 years I've been practicing training NLP, and I could tell you there is no better technique aside of building rapport that will give you the fastest, most rapid, and most confident results if you just apply the right techniques at the right time in your conversations, training, sales, or any business or teaching environment. But let's get into why it is so important. To begin with, we all interact with people, right? There is nothing we can do without saying, talking, listening, or working together. So ability to build connections, build friendships, and to understand how people communicate is crucial, right? This is how we build success. This is how we build rapport and achieve things to be done. Secondly, after you learn how to communicate, you look more trustful. People rely on you, they ask you questions, they come to you with their problems, and in business we know that whoever is able to solve the problems is getting the money. Third important thing that is important about building a rapport is that it gives you opportunity to build strong relationship. In business and in life, it is important to have trustful, reliable friends, colleagues, partners, spouses, right? Building relationship is part of our human nature. Unfortunately, not everybody of us are good at that. Me personally, I was there. That's why I love NLP so much. In a very short time, I was able to build connection with my audiences, with friends, and people I don't even know or even like. So the last point why it is so important to learn building a rapport and actually master it is because it brings you success in life. Regardless of which area you are in your life, work, personal life, relationship, it all depends on how successful you are. You want to be liked, right? You want to be seen. Even though you deny it or others deny it, we like to be center of attention. We like to be liked, listened, asked for advice, and always referred as someone important. Building rapport allows you to build that in a very natural way without big effort or super tricks. The first NLP technique in building a rapport is mirroring and matching. When you mirror someone, the person thinks that you are great. The person thinks you are like them. The person thinks that you have common ground, connection, and that you understand that person, even though you might not understand it particularly. The reason why it works is because in our heads, the world is around us. We are the center of every interaction, of every event, of every moment in the life. And each person in the room is the center of their world attention. Anyone who looks, talks, and behaves like them, they like them most. So regardless if you are a cleaner or a CEO of a top company, the one single universal trick to build connection and friendship instantly is mirroring and matching the person. How we do this? We're learning this in our NLP practitioners training because, well, even though it's simple and powerful, it requires some right guidance. Second important technique is active listening. We all know how to listen actively, right? Nod your head, keep the eye contact, and there are many more techniques how to do that. But very few knows that very subtle technique to listen actively or to show that you are listening actively is leaning forward. Have you seen someone very, very curious let's say in conversation, just zoned in, and the way it looks like this person has been leaning in the conversation. That's literally expression of showing the interest. Second important thing is say, really? Being surprised and showing that you understand has proven to be the simplest, easiest, and yet natural technique how to demonstrate that you are interested in the person and what he or she is saying. And just this alone will build the magic and create stronger connection with the person. You just feel like old friends. The third thing that you can do is ask questions or repeat what person just said. When you repeat what person just said, you demonstrate that you understand them. And when they see that you understand them, they like you more, right? It's showing that you understand and you want to know more about what they're saying. Of course, that builds ego and person likes you more. Therefore, more trust, more stronger friendship, which can lead to, deals, closures, or just an amazing conversation. The third technique that you can be learning is censoring and calibration. Calibration is about noticing the difference between the neutral mood and elevated mood when something is great or terrible. So when you notice the difference, when you mirror and match, when you actively listen, you see how a person is reacting to you, to your behavior, how you respond to them. And the difference allows you calibrate how you should be responding to their words or their actions. So, senses. What the senses are about. Very few people, even good communicators, know that there are at least 3 communication styles: visual, audio, and kinesthetic. The visual sounds like, yes, I see what you're saying. I see your point. To these people, to do the right mirroring and matching, you should respond the same way, saying that, do you see my point? Do you see how this can lead to this result? Can you imagine this going forward? Can you imagine or see in your head how this will work? And if person is seeing the picture how it's working, you are on the right point. Then auditory people like sounds. They like vibrations and rhythms and music. Sometimes even terrible voice can reject them very fast. The auditory people have their own style. You might meet people who are saying, yes, I hear you, but no, right? They also say, I sense you, I hear you, that sounds great. And to these people, you respond the same way. You play on their level of audio, right, with the sounds. And whenever you communicate with them, you just say, does that sound great? Sound of this video brings you joy? Or does this sound well for you? Meaning that, do you like it? Right? The third level is kinesthetic and feelings. I think this is mostly for the men, because we are mostly kinesthetic people. They are usually saying that, yes, I feel you, yes, I understand. How to talk to these clients, friends, people, is saying that, do you feel it? Do you understand? Does that give you the right feeling? Does it feel right? So this is a very common expression. And even though it's a very small difference, it's a big difference for them, because this is their language. And the more subtle is your game, the more subtle you are building the rapport, the less you are noticed, the less they suspect that you have some intentions. And small disclaimer, use it only for positive purposes and only to build positive, great friendships and connections. And last point that is a pillar point for all of them is that why we build rapport. Why does it work? I mean, we do this naturally. If you observe people, they mirror each other and they match each other with clothes, with body posture, language, even their hairstyle. But why does it work? It works because we like people who are like us. So regardless of the techniques that I was sharing, The pillar point, the principle how to build a rapport is to find a common ground. Always look for what is common between you two, be it profession, language, your experiences, countries you are from or been with, or people that you know. The more common ground you found, the easier it is to build a connection. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's recap what we talked about. Building rapport and mastering rapport through NLP is all about understanding why you need this, right? It builds your relationship, connections, and trust. The way you build a relationship and connection, the way you build a rapport is through mirroring and matching the person, through active listening, the technique that I was sharing with you, through calibration and sensory observation and matching your senses, and of course, looking for the common ground. Try any of these and let me know in the comments how did it go. Trust me, I read every comments and I respond. I hope you enjoyed this video. Watch out for the next one. Subscribe, like, share, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.